Welcome to another Pow Pow World video. If you don't know what Pow Pow World is, in short, I'm creating my own creature collector world inspired by the likes of Pokemon, Digimon, and other monster tamers. The collectible critters of this world are called Pow Pows, and on this channel I will be showing you how I designed them, as well as building out my fictional world piece by piece. I highly recommend starting from the beginning if you want to be up to date with everything, but otherwise, let's continue on with the video. If you recall, I mentioned in an earlier video when I initially started designing these critters, I thought I was going to do a bug-only creature world. And how can you make bug designs without doing the caterpillar? Such an iconic bug, and the only one I ever properly raised myself. Since I was designing a caterpillar critter, a big question arose. Do I want to include some sort of evolution or transformation component in my world, like how Pokemon has evolution or Digimon has digivolution? Since caterpillars actually go through a process similar to it called metamorphosis, where certain insects or amphibians go through a process of transformation from an immature form to an adult form via distinct life stages. Metamorphosis is the closest thing in real life to evolution in the Pokemon world, even more so than real life evolution, since real life evolution is a process of smaller changes that happen very slowly over a long period of time. But since most creature collectors call this transformation component evolution, then I will also be referring to this concept as evolution. So, evolution, to include or not? At first, I thought no evolution might be the best way to go. I've designed creatures in the past, but I often have a hard time expanding on them and giving them different forms because I usually get so attached to them as they are. Plus, I don't want to get trapped in the design pit of making evolution just a bigger version of the previous form. I never like those kind of designs since they're not really bringing anything new to the table. It might be best to avoid evolution so that I don't have to worry so much about making different evolutions for every critter and instead put more energy towards having a wider variety of unique Pow Pows. Plus, not including evolution would definitely separate me even further from Pokemon, which is always a bonus. But then I looked back at this caterpillar I was going to design and thought, it's just gotta transform. That hidden potential is what makes Pokemon evolution so exciting to me. It gives a sense of progression and growth between you and your Pow Pow, and I like that. I also love how some Pokemon really sell a theme or even a story through their evolution. Evolution also manages to bridge separate designs together so they feel similar enough to feel related to one another, but different enough to warrant its own unique form. While this is something I can see myself struggling with, I think it's good to challenge myself, especially if it's something I love and it's something that would greatly benefit this world that I'm creating. For my world, I initially thought about calling evolution morphing, since it alludes to metamorphosis, which, as I explained, is a much more similar process to the concept of evolution in Pokemon than real life evolution is. Plus, I like that metamorphosis ties to the caterpillar, which is what ultimately led me to include an evolution component for Pow Pow World. However, evolution is already a common phrase for creature collectors, and it'll end up being too confusing calling it by something else. Plus, evolution really does roll off the tongue better, so we'll also call it evolution for Pow Pow World, but I'm open to changes. So let's get back to designing this caterpillar. For this design, I actually didn't have a concept when initially creating it. I just wanted a very happy caterpillar with some implications that he loves going for a bite to eat, since caterpillars are known as eating machines for their intense leaf consumption. I did manage to weave in more of a concept later on once I designed its other forms, but we'll get to those later. I wanted it to be friendly since I imagine this is a very beginner-friendly Pow Pow. I remember in school raising a caterpillar and then releasing it as a butterfly. That association made me think it'd be good to have it as an early Pow Pow that you could easily catch and befriend. It's a big reason that I love the Caterpie line in Pokemon. And who can possibly forget Ash and his Caterpie? So iconic. Wurmapillar, the larva Pow Pow. These Pow Pows are ideal for beginners. Easy to find, battle, and collect. At night, their little orange antennas glow so that they can easily find one another. They love to socialize and are very outgoing. The next stage of this design was the most difficult to design. In fact, it was actually the last form of this line that I designed, since I struggled so much with it. The design is based off a pupa, since it is the next life stage for a caterpillar. In this life stage, the insect is inactive and is in between the larva and adult stage. It was difficult since it's typically just a bug all bundled up without any face or anything. At first, I thought maybe doing some sort of battery-based design, since I knew the final form was going to be an electric bug design. But it looked a bit too mechanical when its other form did not look mechanical whatsoever. Since its other form stayed much more in the line of a cartoon bug, I wanted to stay more pupa-like. I took much inspiration from Metapod here since I think Pokemon does a really good job of taking the boring pupa inspiration and making a very fun and memorable Pokemon. While Metapod is very angular and stoic, I wanted my pupa based design to lean into softer shapes and incorporate a much more sensitive side. This would better play its role in the progression of this line. Bugcoon, the pupa Pow. Following its overly social early stage as a Wurmapillar, Bugcoon isolates by wrapping itself in a hard shell. It spends time in its shell overthinking about past interactions that it might have come across as embarrassing even if they weren't. It makes sure to cover all its glowing parts so that other Pows can't find it. Bugcoon will remain in this very sheltered form to avoid any further interactions and embarrassments. The last stage is of course based on a butterfly/moth. Now with its new wings, it can soar through the sky and travel far and wide. Its personality had to reflect its new form and growth from its shyer, more reserved previous form. I also forgot to mention that I actually made this entire line electric type since I imagined the final form being quite energetic and zipping around. I should also mention that for now, I think I will also be following the 3-stage rule that Pokemon has when it comes to its evolution for Pokemon, in that 3 stages is the max amount of stages for one line of a Pokemon. I think 3 is kind of the perfect amount, and honestly, I don't know if I could expand on a Pow concept any more than 3 times. Of course, this is subject to change just like everything else in Pow world, but I feel pretty confident that 3 is the perfect amount. Sparkfly, the bright Pow. After some time in its shell, it's feeling recharged and ready to begin socializing once again. It has grown out its sparkly wings so that it can soar through the sky and meet all kinds of Pow and captains from all over. You'll see that Sparkfly has the day type, and that's because Bugcoon evolved during the day turned into Sparkfly, while Bugcoon that evolved at night will turn into Globug. Originally, I didn't plan on this line having 2 potential final forms, but when I was trying to design the middle form for the line, I doodled a design that I thought would also make a really good final form for this line, so I just had to include it. I mean, how could I make an electric bug without making it a Firefly design? I also like that I can make it a night type since it'll show the diversity of the night typing and what could be cast under it. I also like playing with the idea that Sparkfly uses its sparkly wings to soar through the sky to find friends, while Globug uses its glow to attract friends to it. I feel like these 2 forms are really complementary to one another, and it's really completed the line for me. Plus, it helps keep it from being just a caterpillar turning to a butterfly, which we have all seen before. Globug, the glow Pow. After having some reflection time in its cocoon stage, it's realized that it shouldn't be so hard on itself. It no longer dims its own light. Instead, it illuminates the night sky with its warm and soft glow, attracting others to it. I think for my first Pow line with multiple stages, it does a good job in showing how progression can really push a concept further than a single Pow design could do alone. Although it's a pretty on-the-nose take on a butterfly-based line, I'm really happy with the overall execution. But let me know what you think. I'm really happy with the line overall, but I gotta admit Sparkfly feels like it's missing just a little something. Let me know if you have any ideas on what that could be. I love its overall look, but I think its face could use a bit of adjusting. I try not to get too fixated on any one Pow, and I've been trying to adopt the good enough rule, or the idea that if I'm 90% satisfied with the design, then that is good enough, since if I obsess over perfection or that 100% satisfaction, then I might never get any designs out. That doesn't mean I'll just release any old design. I still have to love it enough for it to feel like 90%, but I don't have to hit 100% every time. The amount of time I'd be spending trying to get that last 10% would have diminishing returns. Plus, I can always redesign them later, since this is just an open-ended project for the time being. The second line I will be introducing actually came about while I was doing exploration doodles for Bugcoon, the middle stage of my previous line. So while trying to make Bugcoon, I actually managed to accidentally make 3 other Pows I didn't expect to make. Since I saw that each of those exploration doodles had potential, I turned them into 3 more Pows. Globug being 1, and the final stage of this next design being 1 as well. The third one I will showcase in a future video. Anyway, let's get back to the next Pow. So for this line, I actually made the second stage form first, but as I looked at that Pow I made, I thought it could use a Prevo, so that's why I came up with this little guy that I'm presenting first. The second stage is an electric rabbit Pow. Electric because the initial doodle came from the Bugcoon doodle explorations, which is an electric type Pow. I thought a mouse would be a good choice for the first stage since mice and rabbits share enough to look similar but are clearly different animals. Once I decided I was doing a mouse, the design really came together from there, since the second design already gave me the colors and patterns to work with. I think there is so much irony in how much I do want this world to separate itself from Pokemon, but I end up doing things like making an electric mouse Pow Pow, which is like Pokemon's most signature Pokemon mascot. I'm just glad the two look nothing alike. Plus, I never saw Pikachu as very mousy to begin with, which is what I think is such a major strength of its design. As I design more Pow Pows, I hope I can start making more Pow Pows that feel like a completely new creature, kinda like Slowpoke, Nidoking, or Magmar. And I love creature designs like that. Shockpounce, the Pounce Pow Pow. These mouse Pow Pows enjoy chewing on electrical lines to suck out electrical juices. Because they are small, they are always hiding from other critters. They use the energy from those electric juices they consume to pounce away. I'm actually quite happy with how this design turned out, especially because I really liked its second form, which I thought I wouldn't be able to improve or expand upon. I really am glad I chose to include evolution because it really does push me to stretch a design further and make Pow Pows I wouldn't have made otherwise. As I said before, the second stage design actually came from a doodle while I was trying to figure out Bugcoon. It started off very plug shaped, and then that's when I saw a rabbit looking head in there. I knew I had to do an electric rabbit. I thought about how rabbits hop, and for some reason it made me think of boxers and the way they move in the ring. I thought this could really work, and I played with the idea of it using its large rabbit feet, not to hop, but to shuffle its feet on the floor to generate electricity, which it uses to deliver shocking punches. I also like the progression of a mouse that runs away using its electric powers, but now, as it has evolved, it uses its powers to stay and fight instead. Shockpunch, the Punch Pow Pow. They shuffle their feet on the floor to create static, which they can store in their fists to deliver a very shocking blow to their opponents. I really love the colors and the shapiness of this line. I think they feel pretty complete as a two-stage line, but let me know what you think of them in the comments below. I imagine all the Pow Pows showcased today would actually inhabit similar areas throughout Pow Pow World. All of them are electric and seem like they would enjoy an habitat of the meadow or garden variety. Next time I will be showing off one more electric Pow Pow line that could also live among these Pow Pows, but for now I will only hint at it since I want to give it its own video. 6 more Pow Pows have now been added to our world, and I'm still so excited to show you more since a lot of these early designs are actually over a year old. But that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on anything I shared today. I'm curious to know. Any favorites? Least favorites? Would you add any of these to your team? I'd love to hear anything and everything. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you took the time to like the video. And if you want to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. I still have a lot of Pow Pow designs I need to show off, so there's definitely more videos to come. So long for now, and thanks so much for watching.